Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon from sunny Lagos. We're happy. We're really glad to have you here with us. We can see participants are coming in, but because this is so, we're going to time this carefully so that we can cover a lot of ground. I want to welcome all our panelists who are here. My name is Abolaji Ostime, CEO, Global International Secondary School and Global International College. This particular webinar is focusing on our young people. You know, we know what COVID has done, you know, though quite devastating, it's also affected the educational system tremendously. A lot of schools have had to shut down and go into remote and online, you know, learning. So what we decided to do, because we are also in the middle of this, we have students who are in year 11, who are in year 12, students who are doing the Cambridge International exams, students who are doing the WIAC, who we don't even have a date because we are not back in school yet. And government has not really told us when Nigeria will go back to school. So we have a situation on hand now that we have students who are waiting. The class of 2020, not quite sure what they're gonna do. They're not sure. So we have our panelists, esteemed panelists, quite a few of them. Thank you for joining us, everyone. And they are here today to join us to just let us have a conversation, so that parents can be comfortable that British Council, who is managing and moderating exams in Nigeria for Cambridge, they're doing all they can to ensure they minimize the effect on these young people. We also have our university representatives coming across from Canada, from the US, from the UK, Ireland, and Hungary. These are partner universities that we have worked with for years. So we've invited them today to tell us that what exactly is happening in terms of admissions for 2020, because a lot of students have applied through UCAS, they've applied through other universities, and they're wondering, are we going to go to school this year, or we're not going to go to school this year? So if I can just quickly I want to also say a big welcome to our moderator, Mr. Sheyi Wright. He's going to take over from me. He's our chairman of the Global Board of Governors. So he's joined us today because he's very interested in what's happening in global, of course, and very, very interested in the children. So if I can just quickly ask for the PowerPoint to come up, I will just quickly do a quick introduction, you know, whilst we're getting participants coming in, and we don't want anybody missing on the information that's going to be shared, you know. So I welcome again our participants. Thank you for joining us, all of you. Thank you. Please, please, please put your questions in the Q&A. If you have questions, put it in the Q&A so that we can answer all your questions. So this is me, Mrs. Ostime, CEO Global, Mr. Sheyi Wright, the moderator. You know, so Sheyi is, you know, the introduction is there. I won't go through it. Just to put a face to everybody. Please, the next slide, please. Damilola.
Yeah, I'm doing that right now.
Okay, so our panelist, Mr. Akintola Akintayo, who is a British Council Relationship Officer from the British Council. He's going to be talking to us about the exams. Sean Zhang is the Principal Preparatory School Canada. He represents universities in Canada. He also is a former immigration consultant. He's an immigration consultant, not former. He's worked in the immigration, but he's now a consultant. So he will tell us a bit about what's going on also in Canada in terms of visas. Emma Tayo, you're welcome. Regional Manager, University of Nottingham, one of our partners through NUBI. You're welcome as well, UK University. Quite a few of our students have definitely gone to, over the years, to Nottingham. Then we have Fatima Ganakas. Fatima is from Shortlight, she's representative of USA universities. She will tell us what's happening. We've had some wonderful things about what's happening in the US. So she's going to tell us a bit and answer some of the questions. And of course, Mr. Olufemi Olusonya is our rep for Debrecen University in Hungary. So a lot of our medical students go to Hungary, and he's been working with us quite over the years as well. So he'll tell us a bit. And of course, he's also looking at Russia, Cyprus, and United States and Canada. So he covers quite a bit of ground. Of course, Mr. Joseph Ogun as well. He's our representative from Ireland. He represents top universities in Ireland and colleges. So he will also talk to us today. So you're welcome, panelists.
Thank you.
I think, is that everybody? I think we still have Sarah. Sarah, I think, will join us if she hasn't joined us. She's from Huddersfield University, representing Huddersfield University Global Business Development Manager. You're welcome. Michael Rogerson, Region Manager, Bangor University, all the way in Wales, has joined us today from Wales. And Rita Gwani is International Officer, University of West England. West England is a favorite actually in global. You know, there's a lot of students tend to want to go to the same universities. So we know that this is a university that has really been a partner. Okay, I think I've covered everybody. Is there anybody else? Okay, great. So that's done. So I'll just hand over quickly now to our moderator, Mr. Sheyi Wright, who will be asking questions from our panelists. Thank you so much. And thank you for listening.
Thank you very, very much, Balaji. Thank you for the introduction. And I'm certain that every single one of us present here have a reason for being here. The challenges have been huge the last few weeks and months. And people have spoken about new normal, next normal. What we cannot controvert is the fact that things have changed. And if anyone says that it has solutions to the emerging problems, I will say no. Most people do not know what to do. The question is, how can we, as individuals, begin to look at the solutions, particularly in the education sector? Parents are there asking questions, students are there asking questions. A lot of stakeholders need solutions, they need answers. Today, our emphasis is certainly on those who have planned to study abroad from September 2020. Most of them are suddenly confused, frustrated, and they don't know what to do. So the questions are many. And we know we have several people here who can give deep, deep answers. But because of time, what we'll do is to give each one of us a question. And please, when someone has answered the question, you can move to the next one. And as much as possible, we'll keep it brief. So ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome. Now, where do I start? But I'll just say that the university's admission for 2020, based on study qualifications, is not necessarily possible now because the qualifications are sketchy. Because some examinations like WAEC have not held. Okay, and so how do we hope to go about it, the various universities? How do we intend to go about this situation? I mean, we'll be asking questions later on admissions, travel restrictions, health situation, visa implications, and the rest of it. But let's start off with the admission for 2020, given the fact that some students do not have the qualifications necessary for the admission. I don't know who would like to start with this, answering the question. Emma, would you like to start?
Good afternoon, everyone. I think the apprehension and the anxiety that many students are feeling is not just unique to Nigeria. This is something that has affected many students all around the world. So I think what I would expect is that my colleagues, not just in the UK, but also elsewhere, will have been working very hard behind the scenes to work out how we can respond to the changing situation right now. For the Cambridge qualifications, universities have been liaising with the exam boards, who we know are working with the different schools to be able to have results issued, and we will be taking those results issued at face value. So if the exam board is awarding you your A-levels or your IGCSEs, then we will treat those results as given. We're not going to ask questions as, did you write an exam as planned or not, if the exam board has deemed that you met and fulfilled the criteria for those. I know with a number of our partners, they have moved their teaching online. So in that case, if we know you and you are also saying our students have completed the foundation program, then we'll also deal with those as they come through. For WIEC, I think it's a lot harder to give a very definite answer right now. In our case, the majority of students that are taking the WIEC would be joining our foundation program, which is a 1-year program prior to admission into the 3-year bachelor program. And so I think for now, what we're doing is waiting to see if a new date will be set for those exams, because many students would have the opportunity to potentially join a January start for the foundation program that would still allow them to join the bachelor program next September.
Okay, thank you very much. Certainly there are challenges, whether we should, WIEC could have a problem, but the foundation program would be a lot easier. And of course, in January, you give another opportunity. Mr. Akitayo, British Council, can you add to that, please? Or maybe explain, give more clarification.
Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. So when we look at what's happening, it's not isolated, like she said, like Emma said, globally, a lot of administrations are being threatened right now because of the challenges of getting the script and the scores and the required grades and meeting different qualifications required. At the British Council, so as to make sure that people are not denied the right opportunity to access the schools, the 2020 Major Series, Cambridge is coming up with a certain requirement of how the same exams can be run. And that's why they're having the forecasted grades series in which students can still get grades and results to be able to access some schools. We understand that this might be pretty difficult for some people, and there's not the expectation, but right now, what's priority is the safety of both the test takers and the staff and students also themselves. And so measures are in place to make sure that they might still be able to benefit from what's required. Our associate schools all around, including Global International College, are aware of this, and they are taking measures to make sure that the students can still qualify. I believe the schools also themselves are making more avenues and trying to make ways in which the certain go-arounds can happen in this instance for now. But like as I say, it's an unfolding situation. It's dynamic. Things keep changing. So new development, different things keep coming up every day. And as it comes up, we're tackling this to ensure that our students and test takers still get the best, very best that they're used to.
Well, thank you. What is that word? The word dynamic. Things keep evolving, changing, and that's what we expect to happen. But you said something about Cambridge coming up with some requirements. We want to give an insight. You have an insight into the requirements.
Okay, so we're talking that if you look at what's happening in the 2020 series, the 2020 series is not going to be more of like a physical classroom examination with the schools. So the schools are actually talking to the students, and I think the schools are in the best position to address this. The school counselors with current students of their establishment on how to go around this right now. So, but there have been certain development and updates which has been shared with the partner schools and all right now.
Okay, thank you. Now, in terms of travel restrictions, if they're not lifted, how can students still travel? What kind of plans do we have? I mean, if they're not lifted, what are the options? What can be done? Femi?
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
The joy that we are experiencing right now is that Hungary is open to business. We just did some admissions a few weeks back on the 29th of this month, and of last month, sorry. And we've been able to get some quotes, a lot of students who have been accepted, and our admissions are still running up till the end of this month. And presently, the EU has opened up for their citizens, and there's free flow of movements presently, and we're hoping that by the end of this month, or hopefully first week in July, other countries will be allowed to come into the country. So we're sure that by September, there will be face-to-face classes coming up in Hungary. We're very sure of that.
What makes you so sure?
We're very sure because we're open. Europe is open. Yeah, we're very, very sure. I mean, we're accepting applications.
I'm an optimist, don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But I'm just saying, is there another scenario that you are considering?
Yes. Well, like I said, we've opened up for business. The Ministry of Education is opened. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs is accepting applications. And for that reason, we're hoping that, because Hungary is one of the free safe zones right now when it comes to COVID-19. And because of that, neighboring countries around Hungary are also safe and opening up also. So I believe before September, we're sure that flights will be free flowing. The only thing I know is that there will be quarantine for students for about a week, hopefully. But after then, they're free to move around.
Where would they be quarantined?
Yeah, well, the school will have to take care of that. That is what we're doing right now. We're making arrangements that they'll be maybe kept somewhere in one of the building in the university for that period of time, and they are being watched and monitored. And after then, they're allowed to move around.
Okay. All right. Just moving on. Certainly, the whole discussion is influenced, affected by COVID-19. So the question really is, what are universities helping? How are they helping to reduce the impact of this pandemic on students applying for admissions? How are they doing it? I don't know. I hope you don't mind just calling your names. Michael, you want to help?
Hi there, good afternoon. So yeah, I'm Michael from Lancaster University in North Wales. Right. So the first thing to say is to kind of echo something that Emma said earlier, which is that we're trying to be as flexible as possible in our offer making, taking the Cambridge guidelines as to the A-levels and IGCSE results. And also then we're looking at methods of allowing students to be introduced onto campus so they can start their study in September as planned. Now, Bangor will be opening on campus in September, and it will be a combination, it will be blended learning, combination of face-to-face teaching and online teaching. So what we're very much hoping, excuse me, is that students will arrive on campus, but due to social distancing requirements, we'll have some face-to-face teaching with a few people in large rooms, and then the rest of the people in those seminars or lectures will attend online from their accommodation. For those that cannot travel to the UK, all of our courses for the year will be available online. So that if students want to begin their courses online from home, they can do that and then migrate onto campus once the situation allows.
Okay, interesting. The blended learning obviously has its own challenges in certain parts of this country because the online nature makes it challenging for people who don't have access to required facilities, Wi-Fi, and so on and so forth. What solutions do you prefer?
Well, that's a difficult solution for us to have a huge influence over. But it is one of the questions that's currently being raised with our International Student Support Centre. So we're looking at methods for students who are not necessarily able to have reliable access to internet access to maybe start their course a bit later. We do have some January start options. So we're looking at that at the moment. But obviously that's quite a complex question in terms of internet and online infrastructure. But for the blended learning on campus, if we can get students onto the Bangor campus, which for many students is the ideal situation because Bangor is one of those places where they want to physically be because it's a nice place, it's by the sea, it's by the mountains. So as long as they're there physically and having that student experience on campus, then they can use our online facilities to study in a socially distancing method.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I know it's a difficult question, and of course your own circle of influence is obviously restricted. You can only handle most things on the campus. So I appreciate that. Thank you. We need to also consider these points about fees. People, and justifiably so, many people may not acknowledge the costs involved in online teaching. And so they're sort of reluctant, or not even reluctant, they're still yet to be convinced of the need to charge so much for online training, online teaching. What views do we have on that? Rita, can you assist with that, please?
Hello, everyone, and thank you for attending this session, this webinar. And thank you for the organizers as well. So I'm representative of the University of the West of England, based in Bristol. I think for us as a university, we've always been a practice-oriented university and aim to deliver professionally driven courses to our students. And around the world, it's been massive changes across board for how we run activities, how students study, how universities deliver courses. But we still want to have that focus for our students. So I just want to say for us as a university, we are definitely moving forward with the mind that our students will be on campus with us and have that full campus experience, have the full UK experience for what, and that's what they're buying into really. We have announced our start dates. They're not changing. That's still going to be in September, but we recognize that across different countries, the pandemic has evolved in many different ways. Some countries are beginning to open up. Some countries are maybe just starting to see their peak. So what we're doing is introducing an online block first so that students can start participating in their course, they can register, but they might not be able to travel to the UK yet. So that would be kind of the virtual element that will run for 1 month. And then we will expect and we hope that they'll be able to join us on campus. Now, for international students, this is even gonna be more flexible. So they will have the option up to the 9th of November to join us on campus. Hopefully this will be possible. I mean, to just, for parents out there wondering and students wondering what happens if my country is still in lockdown. Well, we do have our international office staff and representatives across different countries in different regions, especially in Nigeria as well. And we continue to work with the British Council, continue to work with our representatives in individual countries so that we're able to assess what the situation is in that country. And then we can kind of tailor solutions targeted at students that can't join us at that moment. And as one of our colleagues said from Bangor University, we do have some courses that we're looking at the possibility of moving to January start. So if students can't join us in September, we should be able to provide that option for them to start in January.
Essentially, you mentioned two perspectives. One, 9th of November.
Yes.
And then the January date.
Yes.
You also said something about online block.
Yes.
Is
so
that
basically,
free?
we have
Is
introduced.
it free?
Yeah, we have introduced this online block because we realized that a lot of students, even staff, we're all trying to wrap our heads around this new normal that we're living in. And that's gonna have to be some kind of adjustment period for everyone. So yes, we're offering, we want our students to have a full campus experience, but we have to recognize that social distancing measures might still be in place and up to the end of the year, so next year, and we have to now reorganize our courses to reflect this.
Okay, but how much are you charging? I mean, is it affordable? What's our parents saying regarding the online?
Yes, our fees are still going to be the same. They're still going to remain the same because we feel that we're still offering you the full educational experience that you're buying into. The fact that we have some online elements to it it's not going to reduce what we're offering. So you have the first block, which is for everyone to familiarize themselves with new platforms, new digital platforms that they will be working on and get used to it, and also form that online community, because social distancing might still continue, that you cannot have study groups with friends. So that's kind of addressing those issues. But we're still gonna have face-to-face learning environments for students. So maybe there's not gonna be any more big lecture theaters with hundreds of students in them. But when you have the lab work, when you have the small seminars that always come after each lecture, that's still going to be face-to-face. Obviously, it will be less students in a room to accommodate social distancing. Yeah, so, you know, when you still have your lab work face-to-face, yes, for good news for students as well, this might actually mean goodbye to all those exams that you have to sit in a big cold room and you're so nervous writing exams. That might be, you know, that probably will be scrapped because we don't want to put large groups of people in one room. So that's one good news.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, certainly, maybe Fatima can make some comments on this. Certainly, we will have the pushback from some parents regarding the fees, blended learning and all. Maybe they will still insist that there should be a discount. Some parents may still insist that there should be a discount. What should be the response to their claim? And Fatima, as you're responding to that, you can also give us maybe some perspective regarding the visa implication. If those who have obviously obtained the visa cannot resume until next year. So 2 perspectives, Fatima.
Hello, everybody. My name is Fatima.
Hello.
I work with Shorelight. We're a consortium of US universities. So the perspective I'm going to give you is from the US. So similar to what Michael and Emma gave, we're taking transcripts, WIAC transcripts, in order for the students to have their offers. So there are a lot of concessions being made for students. I'm stepping back a bit so that I can build up to the, to the tuition fees. Right. So there are lots of concessions, like using transcripts for WIAC across some schools, also waiving some strict requirements like the GRE and the GMAT, and also things like letters of recommendation. All this is being done so students are able to start either on campus in fall, in August, or in spring, in January. Now, if the students are unable to resume in August, the students have the option of going through what we call the American Collegiate Program. The American Collegiate Program is not your typical online program. It is live. This means that the students would have the exact amount of contact with their professors as they would have if they were on campus in the US. So they're going to have their breakout sessions, they're going to have their different study groups, they would have their different rooms in which to have these classes. They would also have, private time with the professors. So it's really hands-on. The professors are delivering the same amount of work that they would deliver if the students were on campus. If for any reason, a parent decides that they do not want the child to attend in fall live, they have the option of deferring to January. As things stand, there is nobody that can say that the borders would not open or they would open. Nobody knows. So this means that we can't leave students hanging. All students are going through the process of getting their I-20s and their visa ready, paying their visa fees. They're getting, there's still 1 or 2 appointments ready. Some students were able to get visa appointments before, the whole lockdown was really enforced. It seemed as if it was a bit phased. So students are literally by the closed door. So if things change, the students do not lose out, they're able to go. If things do not change, they have the option of starting live in fall and then move to the US in spring, in January, or they have the option of deferring. So whichever way it is, we're ready for the students and we're ready to deliver the best quality education across all campuses. Now let's move to the fees, which was the original question. The amount of work, the academic work, the assignments, the office hours that the professor is going to have, it's the same thing. It's the same amount of academics, the same amount of learning that they're going to have. Now, our first live class was actually over the summer term. So we had students resume in May who couldn't go on campus. So they resumed in May, and the testimonies from those students has been exceptional. In fact, the parents have said the students do not have any time to hang around with friends, to gist on WhatsApp and things like that, because they have access to the libraries. They're doing their assignments and submitting their assignments. They have office hours with their professors, and they have group work with new friends, other classmates from around the world. So in terms of costs, the costs are the same. I would point out at this stage that there are a handful of scholarships, but scholarships are for scholars. The scholarships are not because classes are going to be live and you want to reduce the price. No, there's no compromise on quality. It is, you're receiving the same quality the same quality of work, the same quality of teaching, the same amount of attention that the students would have received if they were on campus. I hope this has been able to clear that.
Interesting. Let me ask a question.
Okay.
I'm quite interested in the American Collegiates program.
Okay.
It seems to replicate a real life, physical situation. You have breakout sessions, and you said the professors have private time with students. Yeah. That tells me that you are customer-centric, if it's put it that way. You are thinking of how can we make it real for them, although it's online. Is it something that Nigerian universities can learn from? Or how can that be transferred to this country? Because we also need to ensure that locally, those people who cannot afford to travel can have some learning, and even those who are traveling can have a better understanding of what you're saying and what you're offering.
So Mr. Shea, I agree with you absolutely. The number one thing that we're going to look out for is commitment. If the Nigerian university system has the commitment to push the students forward in having online classes, then absolutely it can work. It's something that we should definitely work through. But bear in mind that this would mean all students would have the technology to be able to actually have these classes. So yes and yes, this is absolutely something that the Nigerian system can replicate.
Okay, maybe I would push it to, so I'll have to give a chance for others to speak. I like the reference to scholarships. And of course, you emphasized that the scholarship is actually for scholars. Okay. Maybe another perspective which someone else can handle, maybe Joseph can handle, respond to, is the fact that the COVID-19 has affected people from our perspective in terms of the economics, health, their own even ability to do so many things. So would institutions be willing to join the effort to ease the pain and the challenges faced by parents in this situation? Apart from scholarships, are there other means, other ways of ensuring that it's easier for parents, or you give some kind of incentive or kinds of support, assistance to those sending people to school? Yes, maybe we should take that. Joseph?
All right, thank you, Mr. Shayright. Good afternoon, everyone. Joseph Ogun here.
Good afternoon.
Ireland. So let me take you back quickly because you've talked about incentive regarding the COVID-19 pandemic. In Ireland, currently, all the students who are here who've had to experience self-isolation or have had to stop working and have to stop studying because of the pandemic, because everything went shut down. The government of Ireland decided to make a payment called the COVID payment. Those who were working were able to enjoy 350 euros a week, which of course will have equaled or surpassed some of their stipend, their different stipends, or their pocket money. And those that were working, who naturally would have earned a minimum of 10 euros an hour and would have been entitled to work 20 hours a week during the school term or 40 hours a week during the holidays, might not have earned as much. But those that were not working when the pandemic broke out, the schools came up with what they call the Emergency Rescue Fund, and they're being paid 200 euros a week. Now, I would say and commend the efforts of the government of Ireland that there has been a massive, massive injection of funds and care to be able to assist the students. Some of the schools went as far as they perfected their pastoral care by even providing food relief. And no singular school took their eyes off the ball in terms of looking after the students, ensuring that they were accommodated. Plus, the government ensured that everybody had free medical care. Now, that's, in all intents and purposes, that was a very good one, because the cost of accessing healthcare, as you know, is definitely not a very easy or cheap one. So, but everybody's given free healthcare, whether related to the COVID or not. So this is going to be maintained throughout this pandemic period. Plus, there'll be other avenues where the government are looking to alleviate the problems or the sufferings of the people, of the students at any material time. Also, laws were being enacted in the country where students who could not afford to pay their rent were not allowed to be ejected by the landlords. And for those that were being housed in student accommodation, their refunds were ensured, by law. So schools are also ensuring that all those who did not have access to, who did have access to some kind of technology or did not have the appropriate equipment to be able to partake in their schooling, were supported fully, either by provision of loan equipment through the schools. So I would tell you that Ireland is well on top of things, and despite the fact that we have very low cases of COVID-19, and like in the region where I live, which is Sligo, we've had the lowest, if I can say, maybe in Ireland anyway, we had only 120 cases, and in the last 21 days, we've had 0 cases. So yes, we're bracing up to it and we're giving student support. Our pastoral care is next to none.
Fantastic. This is actually quite encouraging. So I'm glad I put the question to you. It's quite encouraging, and I'm certain other countries can learn from what you've said. 350 euros per week. That's quite something. Before we take the questions from the audience, I would like Sean, Annabelle, to make comments on any of the points. And Sarah, if you have comments that you want to make quickly on any of the points that we've discussed so far, but there's so many questions coming in. So we can discuss any area from scholarships to admission to what you're offering specifically. Yeah. And of course, the parents can also make comments later. We know that a Global International College is sponsoring this, and Global International College is certainly ahead. And so many of these things, I was quite surprised to know the extent to which the school had gone in anticipation of, of the need for online education. Way before COVID, Global International College have taken steps. And the content conversion, digitization, teachers training, it's incredible, if I say so myself. So, but let's just get comments from, yeah, the others, please, quickly. General comments. Sean, Annabelle, and Sarah, comments. Please go ahead. Okay. So sometimes you have to just move on. If I'm not getting comments, or should I ask specifically from Sean? She's from Canada here. Do you have any comments, additions that you want to make to give us an insight? Okay.
Hi, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
All right, this is Sean from Canada. I'm a immigration consultant as well, and I'm the official representative of two universities in Canada right now. One is the King's University College, the other one is Laurentian University. So different universities, they're offering different courses, like they have different focusing. And regarding the COVID-19, which is spread all over the world, it's really a hard time for everyone. But I see that as a great chance for the new tech era. So the schools here in Canada, most of the universities, not only just those two universities, they will start online class for at least the first semester of this year. So they will, like the ministry will request the social distancing in class as well. So the university is trying to help the students virtually, both virtually and physically. So for example, if the classes, they may have like 30 students in each class, the schedule could be vary for the students. So half of the students, they may sit in the class, then the rest of the students taking online. In maybe like 1 or 2 weeks, they switch. So like that will overcome some students, they prefer physical studying other than virtually. Okay, so definitely right now, we don't have for sure, will Canada open the door or lift the restrictions of travel? But the universities make the decision already that students, they cannot come in September, no matter the reason is like they cannot get the tickets or the other reasons. They offer the online classes for the students. So they offer the advisor to meet the students online through Zoom as well. So the university try to give the students as much as the support that they can do. So then they for the second semester, starting from next January, it should go back to normal. Okay, this is their expectation. In another way for the students, it is a really good chance to apply for Canadian visa. I see a lot of representatives from UK, US, and Hungary. So it is, the visa is a huge issue. You may all know that for not only just Nigerian, for a lot of different countries, that Canadian visa is very, very strict. So this is a really good time for students to apply visa to Canada, because Canada wants to open the door to get the economics boost as well. But you know, they still, like I'm not saying they will lease the requirements, but it is a really good chance for the students to apply. Also, if some students, they may get a refusal, like some students got a refusal already, then they really worry about the course. I'd rather to encourage students to take the courses right now, because there's a huge reason for refusal for all the Nigerians. I'm not satisfied that you will be a genuine student in Canada. This is a huge one. But once the student enrolled in the Canadian curriculum, either the university or let's say global international college, they offer Canadian Ontario Secondary School Diploma Program. If they enroll either one, so which means the students they are serious to take Canadian courses, they are serious to come to Canada to study. So that will be really, really helpful for their visa.
Okay. Okay. I sorry, if you don't mind. Very, very interesting perspective, gives us an insight. So I'm sure the students are listening. It's a good time to apply because there's a positive inclination to give a visa. But you said something about the physical and the online training happen simultaneously. You can just, in a few seconds, clarify that. But I think that's the way out for the future. You have the physical and at the same time the online happening simultaneously. Can you explain that, please?
Okay, so for King's University College, they plan to offer the students 2 ways at the same time. Some of the students, they can sit in the class, but they will limit the class, like the class capacity because of the social distance. And some of the other students, well, they do the physical class. They also using the physical class to do the virtual as well. Okay, they record, they do online, Zoom and everything.
Yeah.
So at the same time, the students sit in the class. Some of the state students sit in the class and the other students, they do virtual. So they are running that mixed.
So the virtual, they're able to enjoy the benefits of the physical activities. They just look at it and they can make contributions, participate with those physically present. The virtual and the physical, they're happening together. So they can make contributions online to the physical presentations.
The way that they are running makes the class is because of some of the students, they prefer sit in the class other than the virtual. So it won't like have any effect for presentation or group works. So the group works nowadays, like for the current semester, they've already switched that to online. So a lot of students, for not the new students, most of the students and professors, they are get into the way of teaching and learning. So next semester, they will definitely know like how it works.
Okay, thank you. We need to round up now this segment so I can take questions from the participants. I don't know if Annabelle or Sarah have comments quickly, 60 seconds each. Is it possible? We're still waiting for them. You can speak later. Can we take the questions from the chat? Let's just see. It's quite a number here. Quite a number here.
I can jump in and try and reduce the number, if that's okay, Shay.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Go ahead.
Okay. Because it's been interesting listening to the panelists, and I think they're doing all they can. And for the parents and the students who are in the audience, they're doing all they can to ensure there's a progression. And that's what we are concerned about in global. And a lot of secondary schools and sixth forms in Nigeria are also concerned. I'm very, very happy to hear what Ireland is doing. I hope other countries can emulate what they're doing, which is awesome. They did that in the US actually, because my daughter got a palliative. Because she had worked, she also got some money during this period. Hopefully our government is listening. Anyway, so I'll quickly go to the questions. I'll just go according to how it's come and I'll try and summarize. One of the questions, I don't know if anybody from the UK, I know that visa, we don't have anybody who's on visa, but can you help us with this question? How do I manage visas to the UK for my son who is supposed to resume at University of Liverpool? At University of Liverpool in September, and I'm sure a lot of parents are asking as well about visas for UK. We've heard about visas for Canada, and Canada, for Canadian visas, Sean has mentioned to us, even at the Instagram chat we had, that you can, and our students are applying right now. The visa is open, it's online. Does anybody know, out of our panelists, what is happening with the visas for UK students? Does anybody have any idea? British Council? Or anybody?
I can just try to chip in. Obviously, I'm not from the visa advice or immigration advice. However, I do have word that the classes that students usually need to use to apply for visas, we are thinking we should start issuing those sometime in July, probably around the 17th of July. Now, we still haven't got a concise information, or the UK visa hasn't yet published how it's going to go about with visa applications for September this year yet. So we still have to wait for the clear instructions from the UK VI, but it's starting to look like CASs will start being issued in July.
Excellent, thank you so much for that. I think once the CAS is issued, and the government of UK is also very proactive and they're saying they want to open up the economy, the likelihood is that they will open up. And they've already also mentioned about quarantine. Emma, when they talk about the quarantine, what does that mean exactly for students? Can you just sort of talk about that a bit? What does that mean? Are they going to be quarantined in the airport, or what's going to happen? Because parents are worried, this quarantine thing. Can you just expatiate, please? Thank you.
No problem. I think the guidelines on the quarantine have been made quite clear. You won't be whisked off to an unknown location on arrival in the UK. What you have to do is to be able to provide an address that you will be at for the first 14 days that you're in the country. So anybody that would have booked 3 nights in a hotel and then thought, I'll then figure out where I'm going to live, we would always have advised our students against that anyway. But I think this is going to make it even more important to have arrangements in place for your accommodation, such that if you arrive, you're able to go directly to your accommodation. I think you are able to spend 1 night at a hotel en route to your quarantine address. And once you are there, you're expected to remain at that address, and you should seek support from others to enable you to get food supplies or any other things that you might need. So I think what universities are currently looking at is, if we're welcoming you into university accommodation, how can we make sure that you as an individual don't need to go out to the supermarket? You know, you don't need to go out and be in a space where you would be mixing with other people for those first 2 weeks. So whether that is having staggered meal times so that you can come and collect your food and return without having to interact with other students, but at least you are able to go to the address of your choice. And so long as you respect those measures in terms of not mixing with the general public and maintaining those distances, then there's really nothing to worry about. The main thing, I think, is going to be ensuring that you have a clear address that you are going to, so that you're able to answer that question with a clear conscience and say, this is where I will be for the next 14 days.
Excellent, thank you so much. So basically what, I think that obtains for most countries as well. So if parents are happy for their children to travel out, once the restrictions are lifted, they will probably have to self-isolate when they get to university for a week or 2. And they continue classes from their accommodation, and then they arrange with friends who can bring food. So that sort of works. And if they don't want them to go, the universities have provided for virtual learning from their home where they are. So that's great. The next question is for University of Debrecen. What happens to a student who has admission? And this particular question has been asked several times. So I'm just going to direct it to everybody, really. What the challenge that I'm seeing from these questions are coming up is WAEC. WAEC is the challenge. Cambridge, I'm sure Mr. Akinola is here with us. He will talk a little bit about it. I want him to talk a bit about exactly what British Council is doing with the Cambridge exam, so parents are clear. We're still getting questions from the audience on that. But for WAEC, what is happening is that WAEC has not done exams. They're not online. And until schools go back, we cannot have this WAEC exam. So, Deborah, if, for example, WAEC doesn't do the exams or any of the other universities, what can we do? Because I know somebody had mentioned something about that, but we're still getting these questions coming up. And they're asking that what can they do if they have mock exams or whatever in terms of WAEC? What can they do? Mr. Olusoyan.
Right. Regarding that question, we've been able to make arrangements. Students should present their transcripts pending when they're able to get their WAEC result out. And I got information just a few weeks ago that WAEC will be conducting the exam by August 3rd throughout the month up to September. But I believe most of the students that will be preparing to go to the university, or some will be doing their online registration and all that. So, but the universities allow that students should present their transcripts or their mock results for the main time, pending when their WAEC results out.
Okay, great, thank you. So students, you can present your mock results, and literally, practically, I think most students have done mock in all the secondary schools. You can present. Mr. Akinola, in terms of the CIA exams, Mr. Akintayo had spoken to us before you came on board. So I'd like to welcome you to the panelists. Can you just talk a little bit about you in Abuja? We have a school in Abuja, we have in Lagos, so we're very concerned as well. And Abuja serves the north. So can you just expatiate a bit on the qualification aspect as well? What are you expecting from schools? What are we supposed to give you? And how will that pan out? And when we give it to you, what do you do with it?
Okay, thank you, and good afternoon. So just to add to what my colleague said earlier on that topic, it's a fact that we're working to minimize the impact of the COVID-19 as much as possible on the journey, on candidates' journey, all through to the university. And that's where the predicted grading for the May June 2020 series comes in. So a portal has been designed and sent to schools. And so what we're doing with the portal is to use that as a means of gathering evidence and the ranking of students, such that they will be able to get proper grading and certificate issues to be issued to them by Cambridge. So in that respect, you will find that there's relatively no impact for those who are willing to go ahead with the major exams, IGCSE, A-levels, and another exam. So what we expect from schools for now is to make sure that they have all their ranking and the grade for students. And how do they get this ranking? Simply the evidences of work that they've done with the students on campus, their mock assignments and all of those things aggregated and graded such that they can rank all the students. And this is what Cambridge will use and analyze and then give particular grades to students. So at the moment, up until 16th of this month, is open for schools to submit. Demand all those schools to go through, do the integrity checking, just to confirm the integrity of the marks submitted by each school, and then final approval. So once we have that, we'll go back and then start working on the grading system. We will be getting in touch with schools to validate the evidences of the grading, the grades that they submitted for candidates. As much as possible, even though we're relying on schools to provide grades and ranks for those the students, we also will be doing an integrity check to verify if those things submitted they're actually as said. Okay, so that's what we expect from schools at this moment. And very soon, in the next 2 weeks, the window for the October-November exams will open. We're working seriously to make sure that that exam takes place as well, such that those who withdrew, because we do fear that, okay, they didn't know what would happen, and they will not be going on with the October-November, the May-June series, and they've opted that they wanted to go for the October-November series. So we're opening the window in the next 2 weeks, actually, so that they can start registration. And we hope that exams will go on fine as normal. Yeah, excellent. That's it for now.
Yeah, thank you. That's such. Yeah, thank you. That really clarifies a bit. So schools basically would expect to have the grades. Students should expect to have the grades in the maybe in the next few weeks to move on to university, yes, or to move on to sixth form. So that really clarifies it. What about IELTS though? IELTS and all the English exams, are they still compulsory, or what's happening? Does anybody know what's happening with IELTS?
Oh yes, I can
Okay, thank you. Please go on.
All right, so in terms of IELTS, what we've done as well is to launch the IELTS indicator, which is available for candidates to use in applying for. I mean, that indication, the indicator is an indicator exam that they can submit to universities to say that, okay, this is what I expect to get if I write my IELTS, and then thereafter they will sit for the proper IELTS. But what we're working on now is to start the computer testing. Hopefully, the computer testing will start by the end of the month. The computer testing has results comes out faster than the paper-based testing. So we're going to be managing that and looking at how that works now, and then we'll gradually move to paper-based testing. So that's what we're working on at the moment.
Okay, great. So IELTS can be done as a computer-based testing going forward.
Yes.
Okay, yes. Because it's still compulsory, I think, to an extent for.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Great. I know. Sorry. Does anybody want to add anything?
Yeah, I just want to check in something there. Okay.
Yes.
The indicator is very important for the student to confirm from the prospective school that they will be accepting that. Okay, it's very important because right now it's still pretty new and they need to read up about it. Also, and unlike this, that means they have to use very
okay.
That the school they intend to apply to accept that before they go ahead.
Okay, so basically what you're saying, you were breaking up a bit. What you're saying is that students must still take the IELTS test, and the computer-based one, schools should contact you, or you contact schools, right? You are breaking up a bit.
Students should confirm from the school.
Yes.
It's acceptable, that they are accepting it.
Okay.
Can you hear that?
Okay, I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay. So universities, to confirm with the university that's going to accept it. Is that what you meant, Mr.? Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Good. That is the one you're doing. That's the one British Council is doing.
Can I add to that, ma'am?
Yes, please.
In Ireland, we've extended the expiration date. If you, like, take for instance, if the IELTS is meant to expire in maybe early 2019 or mid 2019, or probably expired 2018, we've extended the expiration. We've added a year onto it, so
excellent.
That's good. That's good.
Them.
Mr. Joseph, is that for your school or for?
That is countrywide. So I'm speaking countrywide.
That's great.
So also the Duolingo English test, which is online based, which can be sat for at home, using a system that has a camera, is being accepted in all universities in Ireland, and that's by the directive of DOJ, Department of Justice. So, and then the expected scoring points, or the score points, the grade that we're looking for, is 90 for undergraduate, 110 for postgrad. So that's another addition to one of the things we've done to reduce the impact of COVID-19. And I might just use this opportunity to let you know that if you do choose a school in Ireland, you can begin to apply for your visa from June 22nd. So the visa office they're processing applications from June 22nd. When you arrive in Ireland, very similar to what Emma said, when you arrive in Ireland, or prior to you coming to Ireland, we are encouraging all students to arrange, secure accommodation, because you will have to provide the address of where you're going to, and provide 2 other contacts, which will be one from the school and maybe somebody else in the community. The school body system plus the peer mentoring, they are the ones who are going to help you in the provision of your winter clothing, your food, and basically you get virtual tours of the areas. Now, as much as you self-isolate in Ireland, you're still allowed to go around for about 2 kilometers in around your area. So you're not locked down, you're not locked in. So you can still access sport arenas and things like that.
Awesome. Ireland seems to be very, you know, I like what I'm listening to from Ireland. So there's quite a wide range of options. That's really good, you know. So students, please take note. So I'll rapidly just quickly go through the questions, but there are many of them. So I'm just going to be a bit rapid and pick. I can't cover all. And I think for IGCSEs, Fatima, IGCSEs, if I don't have WAEC, will US universities accept IGCSEs?
Yes.
And what's the yes, okay, they will accept. Okay, great.
Yeah, they would.
So that's
so
answered
they would
that.
accept the IGCSEs from all students. It needs to be the official score report, and the students would need to send in their transcript as well. So it's not just the IGCSE standalone, but they need to send in their transcripts from their JS3.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. So, yes.
So,
yes,
sorry,
somebody has asked. So, okay.
Sorry. Talking about transcripts, there's a question regarding the challenges of getting this transcript. What do we think could be the solution to that?
That's true, because the universities are not open. So for students who want to go for postgraduate, particularly even students who are not back in Nigerian universities now, we need to consider that, because we have a company called Strategic Offshore, and we process for postgraduate students. So what would happen to Nigerian students who have not been able to go back to university to complete their course of study in the last semester? Because quite a few of them are not online. And the second question will be, for students who want to collect their transcripts, the universities are closed. What would happen if you're doing a postgraduate for them, like Bangor or Bristol? Do you have anything to contribute to that?
I think
Bangor, Bristol. Yeah.
Hi, sorry. I think in Bangor's case, if we have students who have not been able to complete their undergraduate degrees but are still interested in applying for postgraduate study, we would look at their transcripts so far and ask them to email those to us, because our admissions staff are still working. In terms of our offer making, we'd be able to issue conditional offers for postgraduate study based on receiving a hard copy of the final results in, well, much nearer the time. And we can turn that around quite quickly in September. I guess the difficulty comes if students are unable to complete their studies, and so they're maybe still enrolled at a university as an undergraduate student, having not completed, and yet they wish to enroll in a postgraduate course at Bangor. That might cause an issue. But I'm sure that's something that our admissions office is looking at resolving. But again, we'd be as flexible as we possibly can be in that scenario.
Excellent, excellent. And for students who are asking questions, in the next few days, we're having other webinars. We cannot answer all the direct questions in terms of your courses. So you have the opportunity of joining for the UK on Monday, and we also have for Canada on Tuesday, and for the US on the 18th. So we're still going to look specifically. So for participants who are on this audience, please make sure you register. So if you want to go to the UK, you register for UK and Ireland for Monday, UK, Ireland, and Hungary. So they're going to be back again on Monday to talk specifically. We're just looking at the, today we're looking at the challenges of COVID in study abroad. That's what we're talking about. So I see a lot of course-specific questions. So if we don't take it today, we will take it next week. And we're going to start from Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. The three major countries we're going to be talking to, they're all going to be back. So don't worry about that. If you don't get the questions, please come back and register. I think we've answered the questions on parenting. Okay, I think we've, okay, there's a question on TOEFL as well. You know, home edition tests to complete applications. Does anybody have any clarity on that? Will university accept ETS, TOEFL home edition tests to complete applications?
Okay, I'm willing to share what we're accepting at Nottingham. So I think that the first thing is to say that most students coming from Nigeria to the University of Nottingham would actually be able to present their WAEC results if they have already done it, you know, and perhaps they've already started their A-levels or they've been doing a foundation program. They could actually submit the WAEC that they have done in previous years. And if they're coming for a postgraduate program and they have their degree certificate, then we would also be able to accept their degree certificate as an alternative proof of English language. So really the only people that need to write the IELTS would typically be our foundation students, those that are coming to do foundation. For those who don't have those alternative qualifications in place and need to provide proof of English language for undergraduate or postgraduate programs, we do accept the stuff for IBT, including the special home edition. And I think the key message that somebody sent earlier was that there is no standard kind of acceptance across all UK universities at the moment in terms of what new or what alternative editions are being accepted. So it's very important to check with each individual university what they will accept.
And that's what we're doing from Global's point of view. We're approaching all our universities, and quite a few of the universities are saying, once we get the grades from IGCSE, we'll send them to the universities and we put it in the UCAS. If they didn't do the IGCSEs and they did the WIEC, they're accepting mock results. So universities are accepting mock results. But I thought IELTS was a compulsory element for visas though, for UK. So it's not optional, is it?
It's a compulsory element for the foundation program, if you're coming for a foundation program. But if you're coming for a degree program or a postgraduate program, then again, the university is able to accept alternative proof of English language.
Okay, so we're saying that it might not be compulsory for visas, for undergraduates.
So it depends hugely on the level of study that you're coming for. If you're coming for a degree program, you have done your A-levels, you've done a foundation program, then the IELTS may not be compulsory. You can check with your university if they can accept an alternative proof of English language.
Okay, fantastic. That's great. That's good. Okay.
If I also may add to that, due to the COVID situation, the UKVI actually relaxed a little bit of their rules around English language qualifications. And so a lot of universities now in the UK are offering alternatives to IELTS. So I would advise students to look at the web pages of each university and see the long list of acceptable alternatives that they accept. Some universities as well, similar to us, University of the West of England, offer our own online testing English language to students. But majority of Nigerian students usually do not need IELTS or online testing. We would accept their WIEC, just like Emma said.
Okay, great. So I think basically we've gotten
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Apology. I was just wondering what she had just said now.
Yes.
That students should visit the web pages of those universities. Is there a service Global can provide? Because I know Global is quite has a lot of information. The students can visit the web pages quite all right, but in terms of advisory service, what can we speak about Global's readiness to assist?
Oh yes, we definitely do that for our students all the time, and that's why we communicate directly with universities as well. So universities have been telling us and giving us the different information of what we should do, and so we just go direct sometimes. In fact, there's some students who were having challenges with UCAS, so we just approached them and they said, okay, we can give admission and then the student can go and fill the UCAS, because this particular student had already done an application on UCAS, so, and that didn't go well. So we can go direct to, because they are partner universities actually. So we go direct to them and they give us all this information is available on their website. And if anybody is interested, they can contact us. Our email details, I think, have been put on the chat to contact Global or contact Strategic. You know, we have some of our flyers that shows what we do. So please contact us. There's a question here. I'm trying to see how do institutions plan to address the likely impact of all these concessions on the quality of new intakes? On the quality of new intakes. You know, a lot of concessions are being given and all of that. So I think the question is directing to how do you ensure you have the same quality of new intake so that along the way we don't have a challenge? Now, there's been a bit of loss of learning, for sure, in some of the students going online dramatically. So is there going to be some remedial or something to cope with if they get in and they're struggling even online? You know, having to do online university from Nigeria. Is there anything the universities will be doing to help with this to ensure they don't fall by the wayside? Anyone can answer this, please. We're going to be wrapping up soon. Is there anybody that can give us some ideas on what can you do in case there's anything that has to be done to help them?
If I could say a few words, I think students shouldn't be worried that the quality of their education is going to be affected just because we're doing things differently. So yes, there might be blended learning approach, there might be online delivery, but the quality of the teaching standards is still going to be the same. As we know, especially for UK universities, we still have the standards that each university in the UK has to adhere to. So these are still being very stringent. So students shouldn't worry on that aspect. And you would notice, I mean, I would speak for UK universities anyway. You would notice that a lot of the UK universities are investing even a lot more in student support. So first of all, the platforms are changing. The delivery might be changing or blended. We need to give support to students to get them up to speed on being familiar with these new platforms. Even the way the courses have been designed are changing a little bit to reflect this, so that we're not just adapting to fit the new normal, but really designing everything in a structure that students do not lose out, and the quality of what they're learning and the quality of the outcomes will stay the same. We've had students already being affected, those that are currently already in university, and they have gone on. Some of them are graduating this summer. So there's been quite a lot of measures that have been put in place. I think students looking to still determined to start university this year, these are the kind of things that you need to look out when you're looking for a university that you're going to choose, to see what kind of support are they putting in place to support you as a student around all these different measures. How do they help you cope from when before you come to campus, the transitioning, and when you come to when you arrive in the country, there's going to be quarantine. What is the university going to do to support you through this period? So for our university, for example, we're putting in place measures so that first of all, we advise every student to have, for example, accommodation before they start making plans to travel to the UK. And now we're encouraging students even more so to try and get campus accommodation, especially in their first year, so that when there are quarantine measures in place, you know that the university is going to support you and put all the necessary structure to make this as easy and comfortable for you to live in. So I think that's, thank you.
That's great. Thank you, Rita. Mr. Lusanya, sorry. Let me just take this question from Mr. Lusanya because it's come up a couple of times. And then Budapest, BMC, how far is it from, how long is the school from the hostel? That's one question. The other question is how easy is it to get a visa for Hungary? So there's a couple of questions on Budapest, BMC. So if you just want to address that in a minute, we are running out of time. Running out of time.
Budapest school, it's about 3 to 5 minutes work to the university. I think that clears that out. Now regarding visa, as long as the sponsor can show sufficient funds in his account, we don't have an issue with visas.
Okay, and somebody, thank you so much. Somebody asked about US visa. US visa they're still not taking applications. They're not taking applications on the website. That's what has been mentioned earlier. And but Canadians are taking applications. UK, I don't think as well. Ireland is taking applications. Hungary is taking applications. So it depends on countries. So like I said, we would have some webinars next week that would address visa. I will try and get a visa expert in, hopefully, because I see we have a lot of visas for UK. We'll try and get a visa expert to come and talk to us on the UK visas. But I think most of the questions have been covered now as regards studying abroad. And I think most people are clear that it's actually might even be easier because they're waiving a lot of the qualifications that they're asking for. You know, we've heard that GRE, GMAT has been waived. IELTS, it depends on the university. WAEC, if you have your mock results, you can put in your mock results for that. So it's actually easier. So for students and parents, it looks like it's going to be easier to actually move forward. But the visa, if the country, Nigeria has not opened its borders yet, and I'm sure they will open the borders because they really want people to start moving. If they haven't opened the borders, you can do your online classes. And I can testify to say that even the online classes we're doing in Global for our students has been fantastic. The students are learning a lot. They're learning 21st century skills. They're being prepared for jobs. You know, they're doing robotics, so many other things that they were not doing face to face. And I think our universities, particularly some of the things we've heard today, are making sure you get the same quality, if not more, online, you know, virtual quality. And I'm sure our universities will talk to you about more scholarships and any other thing they have when you join us in the other webinars. So please take a look at the webinars. It's on the study for UK and Europe and Ireland. We are going to be coming back again to have a webinar on the 15th of June at the same time, 3 o'clock. Canada, they will be able to talk, Sean will be able to talk to you a lot more about study visa. He has a PowerPoint he's going to share with you. He will talk to you about study, leave, and work. Please tell your friends. Even if you want to do a permanent residence, they're still taking applications. If you want to go and study masters, they're still taking applications. So, you know, so we'll be talking about study, leave, and work because Canada is attractive for people who want to move there. So that's on the 16th of June at 3 o'clock. And then study in top universities in the USA. Fatima will be here. No, so not Fatima. Chioma will be here to talk to us. She's a consultant in the UK. Fatima is busy on that day, on the 18th of June. So for Global International College itself, we're very happy to answer any of your questions. I think our emails have been put there. So I'll just hand over back quickly to moderator, Mr. Sheyi. Thank you so much for moderating this, you know, for us. Sorry, Damilola, is there anything else I'm supposed to talk about on? I think that's about it.
Well,
yes.
I can assist there. Thank you,
Yes,
Bolaji.
please.
I can assist
Thank you.
there.
Thank you.
I see there's a post here that for strategic placement in foreign universities, please contact Dami Joseph at Global College Online. It's all there, please. So you can also have the mail address joseph.strategicoffshore@yahoo.com. joseph.strategicoffshore@yahoo.com is on the chat. You can check it. So as we're running up, I'd just like to say a very big thank you to all of us. I would just give 2 minutes, if you don't mind. Is there any panelist who wants to say something that we haven't really covered any area? We have about 7 minutes more, but can use 2 or 3 minutes.
Hi.
I think I have a question. Yeah, go on, please.
Yes, I'd like to say, I think I've heard some questions about, you know, we're taking transcripts, we're making so many concessions. How are we sure that, you know, there's going to be quality of students actually entering the US or into the UK or for that? If you take a student's transcript for the past 3 years and you look at it, it tells a story. So if a student gets A, the student would not feel it. In the same way, if a student is the D student, then you question, you know, the student's ability to pass the wire. So in that instance, using the student's transcripts by US universities to assess their ability when they come on campus is absolutely, absolutely right, because it tells more of a story than any other kind of results will tell when they're coming into university. When they're about to start their classes online or their live classes, they spend about a week to learn how to use the technology. So it's not just being thrown at them, they learn how to use it first before they actually start their classes.
Okay.
So whichever way it's, students are really being taken care of.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for that information. Can we take one more person quickly? While we are waiting for the person, for the panelists, We have a question here. It says, who do we email if you have questions about the US and Canada respectively? The Bristol inquiries is there, Jennifer, there's Azuka. You can see, you can check that. Bristol inquiries.
They are representatives. Sorry, they are representatives. So we normally post us. So we have put our details there because they are university representatives. So we process the applications on their behalf usually. So if you have any questions for Hungary, for Ireland, for UK, for US, and you email us, I'll put our emails and numbers there. We will get, like I said, we have the webinars coming up. So we'll be able to answer your questions. Those are the details to contact. Because all the universities who are on board today are representatives for Global International College and Strategic. So we represent them, yes, for the courses. So you can contact us. It's easier that way, you know, so that at least we can now get in touch with them and process your admission for you.
Okay. As we're rounding up now, may I just say something for us to take away? Today represents the beginning of the future for our nation. The students we're discussing today, their life and their future would affect the development of this country. Someday, these young people will be at the helm of affairs. Fortunately, most of them are digital natives. They are willing to learn. But every single institution should look at what we are doing from the perspective of that student. How can we elevate their learning? How can we make things easier for them? And in saying this, I'm aware that we need more collaboration. We need involvement of the government to provide that infrastructure that is necessary to assist the students. We're discussing a number of issues right now. We mentioned infrastructure in terms of Wi-Fi, technology, and the rest of it. Some of these things are beyond the institution. But what kind of support can we get from the government? What kind of support can we get from those who are making policies and regulations? Universities in Nigeria have a challenge right now. A number of universities are not online. And the level of knowledge regarding this platform is also quite limited. Teachers need help. Is there someone willing to sponsor, to assist in the training of teachers to become more digitally aware? Because the students are there. They are willing to learn, but they may not have the facilities. What do we do? And to the students, I want to encourage you to not to give up, to know the difficulties are there. But the question is, you need to ensure that despite all the challenges, you look for the opportunities and make sure you have a great future. And for the parents, we know that the times are hard, times are challenging, but in always have a discussion with school institutions, but let's also be flexible. Let us realize that we are working as partners with the schools. It's not easy for the schools also. They have to train their teachers. They have to do so many things to get things going. So we have a decision to make today, a choice to make that will not give up. Despite the COVID-19, there's hope. Hope for our nation, hope for the schools, hope for the parents, and hope for the students, as we all determine to seek for the opportunities rather than the limitations. God bless you all, and thank you for coming. Thank you.
Let me just add my thank you to that. And to also, there's a question that's asking how to register for webinars. Please, Damilola, can you just put the link to register on the website for webinars? There are people that are asking for the webinars. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming. I know that this is a very well spent 1.5 hours, but we look forward to seeing you, even if you want to join, even if you're not going to the US or Canada, you can still join the webinars and you will definitely gain something. Then we have the time, 1.5 hours to deal with each area, you know, so we look forward to seeing you to join us on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. And also our secondary school information session will come up on the 22nd. Please share with your friends on Instagram. Tell your friends, even your enemies, everybody, to let them come for these webinars because they're very informative. And I want to say a big thank you to our panelists. Thank you for joining us all the way from Ireland. Our panelists who are here with us in Nigeria, from Bristol, from all the way from Wales, from the US, thank you so much for joining us from Canada, so we still look forward to having more panelists. We have more universities coming up. over the week. More of them are going to come up and join us. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. And for our back room, Charlie, thank you so much. Damilola, for all the work. Peter, everybody, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for the invite.
Thank you. Thank you.
Stay safe, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Stay safe. Yes.
Stay safe, everyone. Bye.
Thank you, Global. Thank you,
Bye.
Global.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you very much, Osami. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.